how's it going, guys? We're back for another SBT match. This is in the A League. We have King Swampy versus Skyquake. This should be a very good match. Just letting you guys know, I might have to step out for a little bit and come right back. Also, I'm connected to the voice call in Discord, so if anyone wants to jump on and speak, they might be able to do that. But for now, it's just going to be myself commentating this match. And we can go over their teams really quickly. Um, like I said, though, I'm going to have to just step out really quickly and then come right back. Okay, guys, I'm back, and it looks like they went ahead and started. Let's go over their leads really quickly. It looks like Sky actually decided to lead with his Tornadus Therian, while Swampy led with his Greninja here. Now, a very good start for Sky. You know, he can easily just U-turn out or taunt or do whatever. Obviously, Greninja outspeeds this turn, so if it wants to get off like a Z move, he could do that. One of these two could be a Z move as well. Torn can obviously be Z fighting. He also just decide to swap out there as Swampy decides to actually just U-turn with his Greninja. Now, obviously, we could be seeing the Seismitoad come in, something like that, maybe get up rocks, but you know, Sky's in here with his Defogger, so that might not be the case. Steel actually wants to come in. Now, it might have to catch a Nature's Madness, which might not be the best, but he could have like grass coverage on this, maybe like a Z move or something of that sort, because once this Finny gets a little bit lower, the Mega Gallade actually starts to do a lot of work. But we do actually see the setup with the Autotomize there. Interesting play there. Maybe Swampy really wanted to break down Sky's walls with this thing. Now this could have fighting coverage. This could also have Flamethrower, or again, it could have some kind of a Z move. I would imagine this has fighting coverage. I'm not too positive on that, but fire coverage would also be very nice. So we do see the Flamethrower. It does a lot of damage, honestly, and we do see the Leech Seed come out there. Not actually leftovers, so it could have been Choppleberry maybe, but in comes the Finny to really soak up that Flamethrower, doing no damage and getting recovery with the Leech Seed there. So Swampy did a good job breaking down that Ferrothorn. And to the point where it's very, very much weakened. And so he did actually have grass coverage on this as well. And that Surf really not doing too much damage there. But with the Leech Seed recovery, it pretty much brings it back to, you know, not very much damage from the Giga Drain as well. So we could actually see a swap out from Swampy here. Maybe Rotom wants to come in, something like that. But we could see a Nature's Madness. In comes the Latios. And it looks like Swampy just opts to stay in. Even with the Leech Seed still being on him, maybe the Giga Drain was more necessary. I think what Swampy was trying to do here was just break down the Finny and the Ferrothorn. It's a very hard combo to break down those two. So still, Celesteela doing that would have been very nice for him. So he is actually Z move, and we see the Supersonic Sky Strike. It does a lot of damage to him, and we see the T-Bolt taking him out. So very nice. Still actually breaking down Latios, Ferrothorn, and a bit of Tapu Fini as well. Swampy can bring in his Revenge Killer in Gallade, and maybe just Shadow Sneak is what he wants to go for here. At the other end of that, maybe so we just see a knockoff. I guess Swampy was very confident in the fact that he might live any hit that Latios went for, seeing that he was more special. Rotom comes in obviously to kind of pivot into this Tornadus. Tornadus going to be at full health coming back in Laughter. We could see Finny come back in, or maybe Ferrothorn, and maybe get up some rocks. This guy's not really he's being put on the more defensive, with Swampy breaking down his walls very early on. He has to kind of find a way to recover up, and this could be his opportunity to do so. We see a sub, and obviously Toxic's not going to go through that. So Sky's looking to also break down some walls here, and maybe just set up this Latios to the point where it can't. No one can switch into it. I think his last move might actually have to be Psychic, because he has coverage for everything else. So Swampy just bringing in his Gren, and just breaking that sub to the point where he can just bring in something else. Sky making a very nice play and subbing again, because he knew that Gren had to break that sub somehow. So his last move was actually Shadow Ball. So very nice coverage. It kind of covers everything else. And maybe Swampy had something else that needed that Shadow Ball coverage. I mean, obviously it does a lot to the Gallade, so that would have been a nice play to do. But knockoff, the Rocky Helmet's already been knocked off there. Obviously just a U-turn coming off from the Torn, so it can heal right back up. And a U-turn would have taken out the Gallade anyways. Surprised not to see the Rotom come in. But maybe Sky wants to send in his Ferrothorn here now. It is very low, but he could get some kind of momentum with it and maybe set up some hazards. Ferrothorn actually does want to come in. Now we know that it's not leftovers. It could actually be the Choppleberry. So this Seismitoad I don't think can KO the Ferrothorn at any rate, unless he has Hidden Power Fire, of course. But it looks like they're both gonna. Okay, so the Rindo Berry activates there, and Seismitoad is able to live on a sliver. This guy actually just wants to get rid of the Seismitoad. I don't know if that was the initial play that he wanted to go for, but maybe he thought that getting rid of the Seismitoad would have been very nice later on in the match, because it is very bulky, especially with him having that Rindo Berry. I would have expected maybe the Tornadus to have Grass Knot, or like in Power Fire on something else. But Seismitoad just goes down there now. Now, what it looks like here is that Sky is in a very strong position, having 6 against the 4 left. But Swampy actually has broken down a lot of things. And he's looking to continue with this Tapu Fini. I'm not sure why Rotom Frost hasn't come out yet. But Sky's keeping that Terrakion in the back, very nice to keep it safe, just in case for the late game. You can probably clean up, because obviously the Gallade is very low now. And if that Terrakion is Scarf, then it's going to be an issue for Swampy later. I think Gren might be Scarf. We'll see here if Gren wants to kind of go for a coverage move or just swap out. No, he doesn't look like he's Scarf, and that Power Whip just takes out the Greninja. That's very unfortunate for Swampy, honestly, because Greninja would have been nice just in case that Terrakion wasn't Scarf. But in comes the Garchomp here. We see the Jar Ball, obviously going to break that sub. I don't think Sky wants this Garchomp to set up at all. He does end up setting up, obviously, but he's gotten weak enough to the point where, since he's not Scarf, Tornadus can revenge this after. Sky playing a very nice game so far. We do see the Salic Berry activate. So very nice bring on Swampy's part, the Salic sub. So now he would outspeed pretty much everything except the Scarf Terrakion, which might come in the late game. Might actually have to come out here. And it does look like he brings it out here. Now this would mean maybe a quick attack's coming or just a Scarf. And there is the Scarf there. So that, I think, might be game. Rotom's still very healthy, though. Rotom does have to come in here. So Sky can keep this around if he wants to. He doesn't really have the best switch in, but Latios can come in, just recover up the damage. We could see a Volt Switch, obviously. I think Sky has to kind of predict that Volt Switch coming out right now. But he also doesn't want to risk like a Will-O-Wisp. We did see a Toxic here, though. I'm not sure how Swampy can come back in this match with Gallade being that low and this Terrakion being Scarfed. Swampy needs to make sure that this Rotom stays fairly healthy. Otherwise, Terrakion will continue to sweep. Rotom not even touching the field on Sky's part, the Rotom Frost. Not exactly sure what it was doing there. Maybe it was Specs or something like that, but Finning ends up coming back, and we could see a Volt Switch. We do. Sky almost sacrificing his Finny, but Gallade is going to have to come in here and just... I think we're going to have to see... The thing is that Terrakion still has this match because he'll come back in here, and I think Sky actually just wins with Terrakion now. He can either, U-turn out with Tornadus and go into Terrakion, or he can just go into Terrakion right now and give Terrakion the kill on Rotom. Unless I'm mistaken and that damage for close combat doesn't 2-hit KO the Rotom, but I would imagine. It could be very safe, though. In comes the Terrakion. We're going to see a double close combat here, if not into the Rotom. But I think this Swampy has to let this Gallade go, unfortunately. So there it goes, and Rotom has to come in and try to revenge. And then we might see the Latios. If Sky wants to preserve the 4-0, I think he might go into Latios now. The thing is that he can also just get off massive damage with this Terrakion into the Rotom, and then try to revenge with Latios in the late game. I think in any case it might have to come down to a 3-0, but Sky can also just pivot out into his Rotom if he wants to. Wouldn't be the worst play, even if Rotom can't really do too much there. We could see a Hydro Pump coming off here, obviously. It's pretty safe to go into the Latios, honestly, unless we're going to see a Toxic right now. We do see a Toxic, and obviously it's in the terrain, and that's going to be the game. I think Swampy kind of had to make that play just in case Latios came in, but Terrakion will end up picking up another kill there, and that's going to be a 4-0 in Sky's favor. So a good game to both coaches. Unfortunately, Swampy, he was trying to break down Sky's walls very early on, and he was able to beat them, but having the offense in the back really set Swampy back, and he just couldn't break that core with Terrakion and Torn. So a very nice game, guys, and that's going to be it.